What up, what up, what up, family? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another Tuesday edition of The Bridge. This is Barbershop Talk at its finest. We like to call it King Talk, not your average conversational, man. This is politically inclined with a touch of current events and a whole lot of swag, man. There's drip in the building. I am your one of your co-hosts. I'm Chad Cherry. I got you, chef. Call it whatever you want it. Tonight, we are going to go all the way in on our series topic, which is the new Black agenda, right? I'm not going to jump into it because I have a tendency to do that. I will instead introduce our fellow co-host and how everything is running for the evening. And we'll get you started. First up is our producer extraordinaire, Mr. James Howard. If you like that intro, if you like the clips, if you see us getting fly every week on the bridge, that's the man who's responsible for that. Rotating clockwise on my screen, I've got Mr. Wisdom himself, Chef Irie in the building. Cool, calm, collected, got the cigar and a drink. You know what we do outside on the balcony. That's that Florida lifestyle, y'all. Y'all know about that. And then Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy had a bear. Now I'm messing with him. I hate the joke flow. Wait, if you never see the bridge, the joke flow. It happens. No, this is Mr. Moneywise himself, Rashad Henderson. He is our residential financial guy. He is going to talk a lot about history and economics and politics, and that's where we get in. So without further ado, we are going to kick it off. Today's episode, for the people that aren't familiar with the format of the show, in the beginning, we got some current events. We're going to talk some sports. You know, this is barbershop talk, so we got to get to that. But as we go on, we dive into the topics. So the second part of the show, after we touch on some of the sports topics and other things, is going to be the new Black agenda. I want y'all to stay tuned for the whole show. It's going to be entertaining and fun. And let's do it, fellas. We are starting out with this draft, the NBA draft, which kicks off tomorrow. Who's in, man? Where y'all at, man? Where's your mind on the draft, man? Because
I think for me, because even though we had the playoffs, one of the things that was exciting about the upcoming draft was the college March Madness. You know, most of the season and then leading up to March Madness. And March Madness was where you got to see who you really got to see who is going to be show out who's going to get picked and what their skills level. But we haven't seen the players since last year, earlier this year for the most part. So there was no March Madness this year.
Yeah, there was no global time. That's what I was saying to James. I was like, yo, bro, who are we even checking for?
So we're going off of what the experts are projecting, and half the time they're wrong too anyway. So they're just going about what some of the players have definitely panned out to be what they said they were going to be. So somehow so it's all about what happens after these guys drafted. I just know for the Heat needs a very good center. They need to give Bam Adebayo. He needs some help.
We need the Twin Towers back. You know what I'm saying? We need
we need a dude with some more size. That can give him some help. For sure. So
that can be down there banging.
Yeah. They need to be, banging in the paint, man. Banging in the paint.
I mean, as you say that, though, I know there's no Zion Williamson's coming out of this draft. But James, you was telling me about the youngest ball, right? That he's
LaMelo
plays what, huh?
LaMelo. That he might go number one. It's between him, Wiseman, and Anthony Edwards. I feel are the ones that might go first pick.
Where's Ball playing now?
Huh?
He was playing overseas.
Oh yeah, his dad took him and put okay. Yeah, I forgot all about that. That was
See, that's
that was like
smart
about
though.
2 years ago, though.
Yeah, he took him out 2 years ago.
Hmm.
But you know
That's
what?
smart.
That
Huh?
overseas money is good money. That overseas, listen, a lot of players, man. Who's the dude that I was reading about not too long? I think it was Stephon Marbury. He's
Mm-hmm.
like in China.
China. He's big. He's
He got his own shoe line,
huge. Huge.
making good money.
Well,
It
he's
ain't,
retired now.
but he still plays over in China.
Not anymore. He
You
retired
know what I'm
recently,
saying?
but he was doing it for years over there when he left the NBA.
Okay.
And what is interesting about international?
Yeah.
No. I mean, why should he? You know, and I think that they talk a lot about Lonzo Ball and his what he's done with his kids, and more importantly, how loud he is, right? But that could have been, in hindsight, a genius move to put your boy international, considering that he wouldn't have gotten the exposure here in the U.S. or, more importantly, the skill time. Because when we didn't know COVID was coming, the international ball, man, they're playing over there. That's not like a light thing. They're balling for real.
Yeah, but it's also the buck the system.
Yeah.
The buck going to college and taking that road, going overseas so you can come back and go directly be professional from the beginning.
So you talking about we talking about that NCAA pay thing once again, which that could be a whole conversation in and of itself, man. I mean, I'm curious to see since we don't have the big celebrities, I'm curious to see who comes out later in the draft because they didn't get to see the March Madness, as y'all was saying, who ends up being that man, like just come through and just do the thing.
Well, it might be Tyrese. That played for who did Tyrese play for? Let me think about it. I think he played for let me see, Iowa or something like that.
Because I'd be lying to you if I tried to tell you.
So that's a small market too.
I think it was going to be.
Maybe, but you know what? Since this is a draft conversation, so I don't want to change the topic. But I think on the next show after the draft, we talked about salary caps. We talked about how the NBA is readjusting money after what they've lost in COVID. I think it would be smart to start talking about the NCAA and their policies around paying players, and not now, but for another topic, because I got a whole group of feelings on that one.
They're not going to realize that anytime just yet, but at least it's more. It came more mainstream last year when a couple of the retired players really started to hit home, and they started to talk about it more in earnest and trying to develop that plan. But it seems like it will be, but not just yet.
All right, I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna come back with something for the people out there watching. We're gonna have some convo about that.
Yeah, Ari's right. They're just trying to find the right way that they can keep all their money without giving the players a lot of money.
Yeah, so I think, they're not wanting to come out with any money directly out of their pockets. What you'll probably start seeing initially. Maybe they'll start giving them a little bit of okay that you can get money off your signings and stuff like that, but they're not gonna give up any money. Sure, how much? It's like a several $billion industry. I mean, shoot,
that's my point.
The money is huge.
Big bread, y'all can afford big bread.
But I mean, that's like oh shit, I my bad. No, it's like it's like with college sport with the games and stuff, man. I mean, you see them on the games all the time. They should be able to license their likeness and get paid off for that. You know what I'm saying? At the least.
And I think the fact checker when they use the thing in Cali. Yeah, and that's where it started. Yeah. It started about having a conversation about likenesses in video games and stuff like that. And I forgot which player it was that came out and was speaking out about that. It's like even it happened to him. You know, he was playing and he's like, hold up, You know, I didn't authorize people. You know how you were doing these games, and this is stuff outside of the NBA. And
Mhm.
like, I'm not even trying. I'm not even getting any monetary benefit off of this. So what's up with that?
Yeah, because
Yeah, but
the NCAA licensed the game,
Hmm.
so and players don't have the right
but
to
that's
their
what I was about
likeness
to say. The
according to
college,
the NCAA.
But see, and not just the
yeah,
NCAA. Can I impromptu add on a topic just to talk about likeness, and then we can. Well, no, okay. I'm not gonna do it now. We're gonna add it on to the back end. Um,
well, shit, you're already there now. You might as well.
I'm trying to keep the show going, man. I'm trying
We here,
to.
Uh,
we here now. Keep it going. We going. We going now.
All right, well,
That's
first
it.
and
Go
foremost,
ahead.
what's up, D-Tron? What's up, brother? We see my man in the building. Had to shout him out.
Team lift for the agenda.
Yeah, 'cause we got an agenda, so we're gonna flash back to this. But not only your likeness, add that to the conversation, to the body of our later conversation, because that's pertinent to our new Black agenda. We can make that work. But we do have to move on though, because we have some other crazy news, man. Sliding over to on the track, right?
Yes.
Wet, rainy track. It was a race that definitely was not supposed to be his. They had counted him out before it started. He wasn't supposed to do what he did. I don't think he was supposed to do what he did from the beginning. I'm talking about none other than Lewis Hamilton.
The boy's
Um,
bad. The boy's bad.
that boy bad. And if y'all out there, if the family that's watching doesn't know what we're talking about, this is Formula One racing, right? This real race car driving. We talking about Lewis Hamilton here, who just clocked in at his 94th win.
And his 7th world championship.
Yeah.
His 7th world championship. And he's the only black
That's
driver
the MJ.
in Formula
That's
One. Yeah, he's the only black driver in Formula One racing.
With
Only
cornrows.
black driver in Formula One racing, and he's the richest and he's the best paid driver. So, but you said something about rainy track. So
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure why they would say they would count him out when he's actually one of the best rain track drivers.
But you know why they count him out. It's the same reason why, and James and I were having this discussion right before, is like he is hands down now the best ever in Formula One racing, but they're always going to say he's the best black driver. That happens to be true, but he's the period.
He's the best driver. Period. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
don't put that black in front of my name. I'm the best. Period.
he's just the best. Period. Okay, he has all the records. You know, he has the most pole finishes. He has the most first wins. He just have all kind of records.
It's
And
crazy.
of course, he's right there with Schumacher. I think Schumacher had 72.
No. He passed Schumacher at 90. He passed Schumacher last month. Schumacher had 91. He hit 92 last month.
Okay. There you go.
Passed him.
he's the now look, in NBA terms. Who is he? Is he like the MJ of the F1, or is he like the MJ and LeBron at the same time? Like,
He know he the LeBron because they not gonna give him his respect.
Right.
oh man.
Yeah, when
Hey,
you
look,
talk about Hakkinen and Schumacher and Fittipaldi and all these older names in the back, they were all white drivers, from foreign countries, whether they were Italian, they were French, they were this, that, or the other.
Right.
And so Formula One has never been a sport for black drivers.
No. Never.
But it's a money sport. That's one of the I think that's another same thing with golf. Golf takes you know what I'm saying. Golf ain't a cheap sport to play. You know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And in race cars, that's not something that's just easy. You just don't jump your ass in the seat of a car and go and do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That takes a lot of capital to do. So, the fact that he was able to do it is phenomenal.
I
You know
think
what I
when
mean?
when he signed with earlier before he was getting his chops up, and when he signed with McLaren, of course, when you hear McLaren, even outside of racing, McLaren has always been right up there when it comes to superior
Bugatti.
engines
Yeah, like
Yeah,
for cars. So and McLaren has always dominated the Formula One sport. So when
yeah,
he signed with a very good team, and a team that would flush with cash, flush with money, and then he
exactly,
started to produce. I
exactly.
think they never expected all of that.
But see, that's the thing, man. Not it's not like McLaren just as the namesake. Just to get on that team. You
yeah.
know what I mean? That you had to do something right just to show up. You know
Well,
what I
Right.
mean?
and not just that though, he has been consistent, and that's what they don't talk about is the consistency. And I want to highlight one other thing the young brother did. He recognized that when he hit Schumacher's record, that there was going to be a spotlight on him, right? So one of them spotlight moments, and this is a quote literally. He said, equaling Michael Schumacher's record puts a spotlight on me that I know won't be here forever. So while you're here paying attention, I want to ask everyone to do their part in helping to create a more equal world. Let's be more accepting and kinder to each other. Let's make it so that opportunity is not something that is dependent on background or skin color.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's that Kaepernick Neal moment, the equivalent in race in that sport, because that sport still they literally just banned Confederate flags.
Right.
Yes. NASCAR, yeah. They
Yeah,
But yeah,
just
for
like
yeah.
just did it.
Mhm. So and and they still griping over that.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
Hey,
griping
why
over,
you
Yeah.
mad, son? Hey, why you mad, son? What's good?
I
and
mean,
you know,
yeah. So that's and that I think that ties into everything else we talk about. One thing I like to say is you can still be, as you can see, we're seeing more and more examples of people still being businessmen and
Mhm.
still being socially conscious. You know
And
what
we're
I'm saying?
seeing more examples of being socially conscious equaling good business.
mhm.
Exactly. So you
Which
don't have to take you don't have to
you ain't
take
have to
that
tell
out.
us. Yeah, you ain't have to tell us that. So, yo, one time for the boy Lewis Hamilton, I'm going to
Yeah,
tune into some races now. And I ain't
yeah,
never did it,
yeah.
but one
Oh,
time for
you
the man.
should. You should. I didn't get to see this last race, but maybe because I don't have the channel to watch it. But that's all right. All right.
I'm going to find it
You know,
online
Yeah.
somewhere.
it's
I'm going to go
find it
give me some beer.
online. Find it online. It's awesome.
Well, but that's
But
that's the
when
thing.
you if you go back and watch, some of his races, um, and I find Formula One racing more not just interesting but more exciting than NASCAR.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
NASCAR, you're doing the oval. It's like yawn. And I've been
Yeah,
yes into one NASCAR race down in Homestead. It's fun because that was my first time and everything. But I'm like, man, I don't want to sit out here forever and do another one. But when you're watching Formula One racing, man, and the drive down that straightaway, and then going around, and the most exciting part of any driving is always the overtake. And when you see some of these overtakes in corners and bends, and you're just like, there's just no way he could have done that, and he does it.
That
It's
speed, too.
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. That's I've been a fan of Formula One, like Le Mans and all of that. But the difference, not that NASCAR isn't exciting, uh, but they have their different things. So NASCAR, we know, is just it's all American made. That's a different style of car, and going in
And
circles will make you dizzy.
it's
But
a different
yeah,
racing
yeah,
too.
it's completely different thing. But
You just say
like
going to make you dizzy.
yeah, it's going in circles and make you dizzy. It's like racism, but makes you dizzy, makes you stupid. But no,
That's some
it's
bar
one of those
stuff.
things. Like yo, the dude to be hitting those turns, and you talking, it's not like 30, 40, 50. You talk about 100 miles an hour, and you hitting like 60, 70 degree turns. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
That's crazy, and to be able to handle all of that over
yeah.
time is
When
insane.
you're able to hit that straight away at 25 miles an hour.
Bro,
I would love to do that, but as soon as I hit that curve, I'ma slow my ass down. I'm gonna go
yo,
and then come.
yo.
But
Yeah,
speaking of
I thought,
slowing
I thought, I thought I was I thought it was I thought it was Michael Lewis for a second. Then I caught a $1,500 ticket. So that ended that ended my dreams. That
once
wasn't for
again,
me. That wasn't for me. That wasn't for me. I wasn't about that life.
You got
that's why you got to slow your ass down. But speaking of slowing their asses down and people that need to get on that same train, this dude, man, this dude, and I gotta bring this in a certain way, right? Because I love when I go online and I see one of them mug shots of some old white dude looking all mean and crazy. Okay, it is the attorney William Dean. So this is BSO brought him in, attorney William Dean, right? He just got brought in for extortion. Now, if y'all are following this case out there, family, there were two brothers, right, that are both out there that were playing. What's the James? Bring me in on the names real quick of the two players, man, real quick, because I got on the attorney
Was
and
it DeAndre Baker and who else? There's
DeAndre
another
Baker.
guy.
And I forgot the other dude because the other dude is still playing. Baker is not.
Yeah, Baker's not, right?
Yeah.
So here's a story that people will remember. So there was a big media story about two NFL players, one for the Giants, one for another team, that supposedly robbed these guys of $70,000 in jewelry, watches after like a gambling game going wrong, a card game going wrong. They robbed them at gunpoint. And when I first heard the story, I'm like, yo, if y'all in the NFL, why are you robbing people for 70? Right? Like it didn't. It did. I
Hello,
mean, was I the only person that thought that when you first heard that story?
hello.
I was saying,
You got a couple
how
million
you rob
pounds.
somebody in the Lamborghini? You can't get away. I hear you 6 blocks away.
Easy. And that's the thing. They robbed them for 70 grand and hopped in a Lamborghini.
that was a getaway car, Lamborghini
That was a
That's it.
getaway car.
in downtown.
In South Florida.
The Lamborghini is 10 times the amount of the jewelry you just stole. So what sense do that make, really?
In South Florida. And so the background of the story, why I started with William Dean, the attorney, talking about his mugshot, why he got arrested, because he's the attorney for the guys that accused the two NFL players. So early on, the NFL players were saying, James says it better than me. He was saying they were talking about this was a money grab. And the police arrested him for extortion. Right? Now, one of the players, Baker hasn't played this season. So this has definitely affected him. The other brother's still playing, but they can still face, penalties under misconduct. And it's just
Well, it goes, for whatever happened, why, for whatever reason they did it. One of the things you may have to talk about is professional athletes and how they manage their monies. And a lot of people see these athletes signing these contracts, and you see, in sometimes some of them go broke before their playing time is even done.
agreed.
Because they do not know how to manage their money. And a lot of these players, with regard, especially the NBA and the NFL, you're taking a lot of kids, that come from you know blighted neighborhoods and cities and backgrounds and stuff like that. So money was not their thing, and they suddenly come into these large sums of money, and they want to spend, spend because they want to get all this, and everybody's like, well, you earn it, you work hard for it,
Yeah.
buy it, as opposed to, well, if you break your leg tomorrow, what you gonna do?
You done, you done.
Yeah, if the team suddenly decide, you know what, you ain't playing so hot right now, we can cut you, we can absorb that contract,
Yep.
and move on. You know, so a lot of them find themselves, out in the drift right now because they spend too much and too much too quickly.
And
Yes.
that's a real point. That's a real point. It's just in this case, why I brought it up. It was frustrating me because like, listen, and the other brother's name is Quentin Dunbar, by the way, Quentin Dunbar, who's still in the league. It frustrated me because it's looking more and more like a clear money grab now, straight extortion. Now we haven't heard the facts of the case. No, there hasn't been a trial, so all of this is alleged, right? But you're seeing more than one side of this, and it's like, hey, why are 3 other brothers, potentially 4 other brothers, setting up 2 brothers? Like I just it frustrates me when I see something like that, right? Like it's unnecessary. And I'm saying to myself, if the attorney got arrested, was he the mastermind? Is that not a valid question?
Of course, he was behind it.
Hey, fellas, let me tell you how you can make some money out of this.
But it seems as if they did OJ. They pulled the OJ. You remember, OJ had, he went to go get back his trophy and his ring.
His trophies. His trophy, jewelry, and all of that.
Yeah, so the stuff that they were robbing was stuff that they lost doing gambling. So they was trying to get their stuff back.
So it wasn't really a robbery. It was my shit. I mean, look.
I'm trying to rob my own shit.
I'm trying. Hey, how you gonna take that, bro? That don't even fit you, bro.
That don't even fit. That chain is too big. You know that chain too big.
I just think it's hilarious, dude. That's like, you don't even think about it. What if I get caught? I don't know. No.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But that's this also goes to. I mean, I like the fact that the media published that and started talking about it, because you often don't hear all of these stories. You'll hear on every media platform about the 2 brothers in the NFL getting arrested for robbery, right? Even though there's been no trial, there's been no evidence, it's just an arrest, but you won't hear about the lawyer on every platform. So I think they shouted him out. And, so James,
I would say that you see it on the news, every channel, but when the attorney get arrested, it's just an article in the newspaper.
That's it. That's why we gotta have our own platform so we can talk about that shit.
Cause he's just doing a white collar crime.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
They could have been playing ball around the corner. It could have been completely different people getting robbed. And they still, if they ball players, they still would have been in the news. They could have been in a restaurant across the street, taking their mothers out for breakfast, still got in trouble.
It makes you really understand. Like, I forgot who said it, man, recently. Like, yo, are you sure you want this fame? You sure you want this money? Our fact checker just dropped in that they dropped the charges against Baker. I've read in the article that one of the 4 brothers who testified also recanted. They couldn't find him. But if they dropped the charges, I mean, that shows you that this was a clear setup. But now this dude missed the whole season. But
that's Baker.
Huh?
I'm saying Dunbar signed the deal.
Yeah,
he
Dunbar
took a plea deal.
The question is, if they dropped it against Baker, Dunbar probably didn't do it either, but he probably didn't want to mess up his contract, so he just took the deal so he could continue to play.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the name. That's the name of the game for us as black people. Yeah, you got the money to be in it for the long haul. If you got the money to be in it for a long haul, I'm gonna ride this out. If I don't, oh man, I got to plea out. Take something less.
Well, yeah, cop to a plea, because then the lawyer gets a win. They say, all right, well, now we're getting more convictions on whatever crimes, and then
The lawyer, the
you as the
prosecutor, yeah.
individual, you got that mark on your record. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
You ain't go to jail, but you still got that, that mark.
so the moral of the story, TV land, internet land out there, is that we got to pay more attention. We got to be more careful. Gots to be more careful about the situations we are in. When you leave the hood, leave the hood. Okay?
Hey, Plies just said it best. The only way to beat the streets is to leave the streets.
Say it. Yo, and it's funny because 50 Cent was talking about that earlier today on the Breakfast Club, and 50 isn't always known for his wisdom, right? Like, but he was saying, he's like, listen, man, when I heard about Pop Smoke, I ended up becoming his mentor, right? And I'm talking to the young brother, and I'm like, look, you got two options, right? You can keep doing the street business, and the streets will win.
Mm-hmm.
You got real talent. If you just slide over here and do this music thing, forget them streets, you're gonna be okay. And that's like, and I don't know if it's the allure of the streets. I don't know if it's just because that we're so familiar, that's what we knew. But like, yo, man, come on, fam.
It's hard. It's hard. One of my friends, Stuart. He's you know him, but he always tells me. He says, "Yo, money doesn't change you. It just brings out the person you already were." You know what I'm saying? It just magnifies, and it magnifies both the good and the bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it takes that mentorship, it takes that guidance. What about your boy Bobby Shmurda?
Yo.
Who got he was I remember he dropped like 2-3 tracks and then ended up going to jail.
Yeah, hold up. And it's funny that you say that though, right? Because we hear these things, right? But then you have a glaring example of where I just don't know if it's because he's super talented that they're not doing anything. But y'all know who I'm gonna call out, your boy AB. Right?
Who's that?
Antonio
Brown.
Oh, you talking
Antonio Brown. Well, yeah.
He just
Antonio Brown. He been in all types of trouble and still good. He been in all. He can always catch a check, no matter how much trouble he get into.
Yeah, they're making all kinds of exceptions over there.
Yeah.
I mean,
until.
But hey, listen. When he got, I read that one article where he said where like his physical. I had some issues with this from the beginning, but like his massage or physical therapist was over at his house, and then she had like all the text messages saved and all the other stuff, and I was like, this is shit. This whole situation is shaky. Like this is an extra gray area and a black hole all in one. But your boy is still playing ball. He got another contract.
You got to realize, like,
how do you come back from that?
Rashad, you got to realize when you reach that type of stardom, you got to be cautious with everybody. Everybody.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
Has to be more careful.
But this one I'm saying. The way I looked at it, I looked at it as if they was both wrong. You know what I'm saying? Both individuals in the situation had some fault. Just the way I was reading from what I was seeing from the article. But it's not just fame, dude. Antonio, you can be famous, but this guy has to have so much talent that the higher ups are just willing to look the other way. I don't see that talent, but apparently he has it.
But let me ask this. Chad, is there a specific reason why you brought him up?
There was because I'm a big proponent of like even though I love gray area, I'm a big proponent of fairness, right? And it's just you don't see it in America lately. Fairness is just something that they taught you as a kid, but it don't really exist as an adult, right? You see two brothers in one case that they have allegations against them. There's not really any hard proof, just allegations. And one of the brothers continues to play because he copped a plea deal, which is still going to follow him. And the other brother doesn't get to play because of allegations. And then we have, on the flip side, AB, who there's a whole lot of evidence, and he's still out here playing. And the NFL is not the impartial party that they say they are, because if they were, then there wouldn't be a discrepancy. Anybody that gets in trouble this way should be sidelined, or anybody that gets in trouble this way, we won't do anything until we have concrete proof. But you can't treat one side one way and then flip over and treat the other side. And I mean, and they do. And it's something that I don't just see in the NFL. I've seen it so much in American society lately that it pisses me off. It wrinkles my whole situation. That's why I brought it up.
Well, I say he's a dumbass motherfucker that has mental issues.
Why don't you just let us know how you feel, man?
That has mental issues and that he needs help, but he doesn't want to seek the help because he thinks he's cool. Because if you look at what I just sent everybody, he about to get suspended again.
For what?
I heard about that. The cameras or something. He tearing up something in the condo or whatever. What was he doing?
Yep.
He definitely. Yeah, I understand the help part. So it's just like you think, okay, if I'm gonna keep skirting because people keep obliging me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know? And if people keep obliging you, you're gonna keep doing the same thing over and over because you have not yet seen the true repercussions. You know.
Well, shit.
You know who?
Well, shit. We got that. We had 4 years of
I
that.
was just about to say,
And got a couple more weeks. Got a couple more weeks to go. We got. If we're lucky, we got a couple more weeks. We got a couple more weeks to go. That's the nature. As long as somebody can catch a check off of your foolishness, they're gonna get that money.
And so you keep providing me with transition points, sir. I like you. Speaking of getting that money, because I don't think we need to give AB any more air, no more oxygen to that guy. He's gonna have to get some more oxygen next week because he's gonna get suspended. We got to bring it up, but still. But right now, though, let's talk to another brother of another color, but still a brother. He is Rohit Khanna, known as Ro Khanna, right? He is running for office. I don't want to say where. I'm pretty sure it's on the West Coast because he sounds like the West Coast. Yeah, California. He's in the U.S. representative right now for California congressional. He's in Congress. I heard him on the Breakfast Club, and we had to bring it up because he said some really interesting things, right? And quickly, I'll run through some of them, and I just want to know, fellas, what y'all think about this. And if you have a background on him, fill it in. But just real quick, right? He introduced the 21st Century Jobs Package that includes several positions that would directly affect federal agencies. Most notably, he's trying to include tech, right? And specifically trying to use tech to increase the fortunes of Black people, specifically, right? How does tech improve Black wealth? He wants to create a federal institute of technology, right? Because our agencies, we had a federal pandemic task force, but we don't have a technology kind of task force, right?
All the major companies, they're all governing themselves.
Exactly, right? He wants to make sure he feels like he feels like he has the answer of how to get students connected across the country, because it is an appalling percentage of students in our country right now that are not connected to internet or at home. The only time they're connected is when they're in school, and with COVID, you've seen it happen, and it's us, Black and brown people, that are getting left behind because of not connected. And he's like, yo, I got the answer. I just need y'all to listen to it, right? And he's doing all this, and he's not a Black person. He's a man of color. He's Indian, Ro Khanna.
Mm-hmm.
but he's doing this for the benefit of Black people, and obviously he's going to benefit other people because when we, arise,
When we benefit, everybody else benefit.
yeah. But and that's a very, very quick rundown for anybody that wants more information. Fact checker, if you could drop just a little tag about him in the notes real quick so people can see it, that would be dope. If y'all want more information, y'all can check him out. But fellas, what do y'all think about that, man? How does that? He out here doing it.
I'm hesitant. At the same, not in what he's doing, but this isn't something that has not been tried before. Okay, and back, it's LBJ's war on poverty. So right after, or during the civil rights movement, after the Kennedy assassination, and just shortly before Martin Luther King gets killed. He actually talks about this in his book. There was a war on poverty. Okay, the Civil Rights Act was only the beginning steps in the war on poverty. It was supposed to kind of create this safety net. You know what I mean? For equality, for Black folks to take more participation in America through their voting rights and blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. What he was supposed to do was then take the cities, right, where, because at that point in time we had a lot of migration towards the north, right, in cities. So what he was supposed to do was take these cities where basically they put Jewish folks previously, mm-hmm. these ghettos, and build them up and basically put them on par with their white counterparts. What happened was it got stymied in Congress. So the Democrats at that time, Southern Democrats, Dixiecrats, held it up on one end, and then the Northern Republicans at that time held it up on the other.
So if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is you're feeling you're torn because history tells you that when other people stand up for Black people, there's always some kind of agenda or there's going to be a compromise.
If past is prologue, back then there was no compromise. Both people said, well, you niggas is still here. That's enough. You got out the South. That's enough. We're not going to do nothing else for you. You're still breathing. You should be happy that you're not living in Mississippi. That's enough.
Let me interject this. He also believes that progressives, right? So more of a middle line party, that what they should be doing is reducing the majority number. So meaning like, Black folk moving out of Democrat, moving out of Republican, right? Focusing more on being progressive, so that we can build consensus around things that are going to support the mainstream economy. Even if these are not positions that you could get elected from, right? The reason why people pick Democrat or Republican is because you need their money to get elected. But so in saying that, he also supports what we're hearing a lot of wisdom from Black people saying, hey, look, we need to step away from both sides. Does that help you? Are you still as skeptical? I mean, because this is not advantageous. I don't feel like this is politically advantageous for him to say any of this publicly.
No, it's advantageous for him in the sense that, one, he's from California. California is heavily Democratic, and it's heavily progressive. But I think personally, I think it's a great idea. I think that it may have a chance, depending upon how white people feel on any given day. Okay, but that's
Ari, where you at, man? Anything on this one? Man, anything on this one, y'all?
I feel like the topic is moving into what we should be getting ready to move into right now.
Yeah.
Just real quickly, though, I think not just per se on Mr. Khan. What's his name? Khan.
Yeah, Ro Khanna.
So when you look at how we are as a country and world standing, especially when it comes to tech. I mean, I know we have some really big companies and they're doing some stuff. And I look at all the schools that we have that supposedly produce or should be producing
the top.
the talent. But when it comes down to it, for the most part, we're still importing people from other countries to fill these top positions. And so now you're talking about someone coming up with an incentive that benefits, a different, you know, population of people that don't look like, the majority minority. And you know, I think, I think we should all be applauding, those efforts for sure. But where would, most black and brown people be? Um, Actually, we know where we are. We see where we are when it comes to tech. We don't have a lot of the access to, you know, a lot of the schools that are flush with cash, to provide all the means, the computers and the tech classes, and the tech professors and stuff like that. When you hear these breakthroughs from, black and brown people, it's because of their perseverance and their endurance, doing things above and beyond to get into a place that, is going to help them. They come out of struggles. A lot of these success
Mhm.
stories come out of struggles. So you have to think, what would it be if a lot of these black and brown kids that have all this talent didn't have to struggle that way? If it was
And
readily accessible, you put these kids in every school should have access, to all these kids. And if, we are part of the community going to these schools, then we know, okay, by the time they get to, say, college, hopefully most of them do make it to college. They're sort of half, already prepared. Maybe they can even most more can start more tech businesses, in their teenage and formative years, without having to wait about, going to a 4-year institution to get a certain type of degree to start creating businesses, where they can, be masterful by utilizing their talent. So if we are able to put something in earlier, and have have it accessible on a consistent basis, I think we'll start seeing more success stories, from people that look like us.
and as you say that, sir, right? To put a pin in this, and we can always talk about this. And hold on, actually, D-Strong, success requires perseverance. There's always struggle, and with the current trends in education, why would computers make a difference in itself?
Yeah,
So,
I did
so
say perseverance. You gotta persevere through the struggle. Yes, and that's what I said. You're gonna
we,
find the success coming out because a lot of people persevere above and beyond. They don't just give up. So that's where you see a lot of those success stories. They push through.
they push.
Above all odds.
And to your point, and to also answer the question that D-Tron posed, right? It's not about the computer in and of itself,
Mm, mm,
right? What it's about, I think, is about just giving a more level playing field,
mhm.
and realizing that just by having certain tools in the house, there's going to be a certain bit of creativity that is sparked or allowed to grow because you get to play with it. So here's the examples I was going to give of what Ari was just saying, right? Microsoft, Apple, Compaq, right? Some of there were some game designers that like if you remember Doom, which at one point was the largest video game in the world, which has started the whole first person genre of
First
video game,
person shooter.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And now they have first person shooter. Now they have video game leagues. Every single one of those companies was created by a young man or groups of men that did not
Right.
finish college. And what they all had in common is that they had access to computers at a very young age. Starting around 12 or 13, they had access when other people did not. And they
Yeah.
didn't finish
Yeah.
college. Now, Microsoft, Apple, right? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Compact. And like I said, I can't think of the game designers one, but so like I said, we gotta put a pin in this because we've got to move forward. We got to do our COVID wrap. But I think it's just important to note that giving us just anytime black people have been given just a little bit, we done made.
Here we go. Yeah, it's not just
This.
So,
yeah.
This the miles.
Yeah, it's not just about learning how to code, but like you said, Chad, the
Yeah.
accessibility to
right.
to learning different things about computer. Computer is not just all about coding. I would imagine, but
Yeah.
this access you have at an early age.
Yes.
When and not not just here in the States. I mean, pretty much everywhere. I mean, when you look at my country, you know kids are trying to go to school, and when you're moving into being taught at home, half the kids don't have access to computers. And I would imagine in a lot of communities here in this country, half the kids do not have
Yeah,
computers. you
and
go
I'm
in-
gonna ask you.
you go into
Um,
homes where there's maybe one computer, one, and mom or dad got to use that computer, and kids got to do homework. How you
Well,
divvy up the usage time for that computer?
so
Where do you go to continue the stuff that you're learning or the stuff that you have access to?
yeah, and Detron, it's not that we don't have access to computers. We don't have access. It's like making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? You got peanut butter, no jelly, right? We have cell phones in every homes, and those are technically computers, but you don't have as many physical computer units. And if you do, the access to internet is spotty. Sorry.
yeah.
Rashad.
So yeah, actually, yes. Most black people don't. Let's we're gonna be real about this. We get this shit out the way. Most black people don't. Most black people have cell phones. Most people don't even have $2,500 damn dollars in their bank account, and they save it it's savings.
Yeah, we're talking
Okay.
about Black Americans, Detron. We third world country. It's
No,
even
I'm
worse.
just Americans in general. Most people don't have $2,500 in savings in their account. A computer, a good computer can cost you $1,500. Now you
Yeah.
might be able to catch a laptop for $200, but $200 is money on the light bill.
Yeah, yeah, and so these are all things. These are all important topics, and that's going to flow. I'm going to ask your brothers to hold that because that's going to flow into our main topic, which we're getting into right after we do this COVID wrap. Take a breath, because you see it.
Take where, yeah.
You'll see what's happening with these numbers again, and they knew it was coming, right? Miami-Dade County, right? Where we at? 203,000 cases. 203,653. That's going up. They're going to be at 204. No, matter of fact, they'll be at 210 by the end of the week if those numbers keep going like that. Broward County, 95, right? 95,000. Palm Beach County, 58,000, right? Orange County, we're over here, Orange County, at 51,000. These numbers, and this is just Florida, right? Florida is not talking yet about lockdown, and I hope they don't. I severely hope they don't, because these Negroes, you lock them down near Christmas, this is going to be a problem. But those numbers, is bad, dude. Like, just to be flat out, like.
Well, the numbers definitely all over the country are crazy, but what we're seeing right now is the everything that was trying to be kept under wraps for political reasons and political gains. The lid is just busting off of it, because it's not even so much that they were in denial. They weren't in denial. They were just following the lead. They were following a lead that says, this is what we should do and we're going to win, and they didn't win. And now that the numbers are what they are, three-quarters of them, everybody, that was in denial are doing the whole backtrack thing, trying to cover their asses, because now they're not running for election right now. Election is done.
Done.
But
except for Georgia, January 5th.
Except
Y'all can make it to Georgia.
except for
We need
Georgia,
everybody to go to Georgia.
Georgia on my mind.
We definitely talk about that too. But yeah, everything that they said was going to happen, they can't deny it now.
No.
But it's just if not, but nothing is being done now. From the federal standpoint, and the we don't have, literally I can say we don't really have a president right now. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
even
We
We
don't.
got
if we
one.
thought of
We
a
got
president,
one. We got one in hiding and
we
one in waiting. We got
had one for
we got
3 years,
two presidents.
4 years. Right now,
We
we
don't have.
definitely do not have it because there's nobody doing presidential nothing right
Your
now.
boy is off
Listen,
the reservation,
Even
and that's
though it's a
terrible.
lame duck session,
listen,
there's nothing happening.
And
God,
see,
look, we got Donald Trump's in hiding and Joe Biden is in waiting. That's what.
and so what that means though is that states are all making up different rules, which states have the right to do. And what I'm saying is, I think I know we have to do something, but I also personally feel very strongly against shutdowns right now. Okay. And we're at our 2 minute mark before we switch over to topics. So I'll wrap this up really quick. I
What's
feel
the
like that
alternative?
would be the absolute worst idea possible. But I do feel that we are going to that politicians are going to have to grow a pair and get on these businesses and these people about enforcing social distancing, mask wearing, and other things that can help stop the spread.
Yeah, I mean, what's so difficult about, hey, keep your businesses open, but wash your hands, cover your mouth when you cough, and put a mask on. You know what I'm saying? Keep your businesses open, make your money, get your duffel bag, but also make sure that you're not putting anybody at risk while you're doing your business. Simple
But
concept.
but Rashad, most white people are not gonna want you to tell them that that's what they have to do. You're superseding on their civil liberties. I
You
should
are
have the right.
liberties.
Listen, hey,
I
look,
should
freedom.
have.
I tell you this. You can ask anybody, any veteran. All right, freedom ain't free. Those freedoms you have are because somebody had to make a sacrifice for you to have those freedoms. That business you got, don't talk to a black man about business because them business that money you getting, those tax deductions and all them benefits you getting off your business is coming from my tax money. And I don't
Mhm.
get the same damn breaks. I don't get the same percentage interest rates. So cover your mouth when you cough, wash your goddamn hands, and put on a fucking mask, you nasty son of a bitch. And I'm gonna leave it at that.
But yeah, but even though that's what we would like, when you have people at the top telling we the people, whichever states those are right now, that
Mhm.
their mandate, they're saying to them, okay, we don't see the necessity. Go ahead and do what you continue to
What
do.
you was doing, yeah, live your
What
life.
you doing? Go out, do blah blah blah. No, we don't really need to wear a mask, but if you want to wear one, you can wear one. Ray, ray, ray. And that now is coming back to bite them, you know. And now you're seeing that, they're telling people to do the thing that was important. Um, Short, I think there's going to be shutdowns. There may be moderated shutdowns, but it just seems like it's inevitable. We may not want it, but it seems like it's inevitable.
Not
Not in
well.
Florida.
It's not want to. I have a real and this is the last thing I'm gonna say about this because we gotta keep pushing, man. It's just this is so damn close to my heart because I'm self-employed, right? Like I ain't catch no PPP. I didn't catch no damn unemployment. I didn't even catch that damn stimulus because they took that before it could come in. Um, I've had to work through this year. My family and I, not just me, right? Because that's unfair. My family and I had to work through this year with no safety net, no potential for anybody. There ain't nobody coming to save us, right? Like we figured it out, and it has not been a bad year. But we're just starting to kind of feel like we have some kind of solid footing under us. And that's me, right? You take that away from me, and I'm thinking about knocking on some doors, right? I'm gonna say this, and call me conceited if you want. I don't think I'm every man. I think I've got a little more options because of things I've done in my life. But if that's me, and I feel like I have a little more options, right? What about people who aren't me, right? And I think, and I say that too because I always try to think about everybody else. And I know that the other brothers on this podcast, I know y'all can echo what I'm saying is that we've had no safety net this year, right? We're just starting to feel like we're getting it. Now you come in and you close it down again, and I still go, you ain't do shit for my rent. You ain't do shit for putting food on my table. And now we hitting Christmas, and I'm looking at possible eviction. I'm looking at being hungry, and then on top of it, I'm looking at not being able to get my kids Christmas presents. Nothing. Oh hell nah.
Well, Chad, I can echo that for you because you know me, I work in production. So we have to be around people. And when you shut that, we were shut down until they recently just started opening back up for us, and now you're getting ready to shut down. I mean, let's say from what May when did we shut down? From April all the way to let's say
Middle of May.
September. I
Yeah.
had one job.
One job.
Just lucky had money saved up to coast through it, you know. But that's what it's doing, depleting the people that had they cut into their savings
Yeah,
during
but
this.
that's what happens, Jay. That black folks that did have some type of something that may have started to recover from hell all the way back in 2008, the economic recession.
Yep.
They just got hit again. You know what I mean? Even at our best, right? What Trump was talking about, black folks had the lowest unemployment rate since ever, right?
No, we didn't.
But our unemployment rate was low, but it was still twice the unemployment rate of white people.
It wasn't low because they don't even count women in unemployment rates. So if you add black women into that number, bro, sorry, I'm sorry.
That goes into all of that. You know what I'm saying? So even just counting, like you were saying, even if it was just counting men or whatever, and you got the white folks' unemployment rate was 3%. Black folks' unemployment rate was 6%. So our lowest unemployment rate was the regular unemployment rate for white people, and we're supposed to be thankful for that.
We're supposed to be happy.
So
we're supposed to be happy for that shit, right?
I mean, across the board, what is it, 40, almost 50% of America, or most of the people who are working in America live paycheck to paycheck. Right? So this pandemic did not, serve most of America well at all.
At all.
So it's one thing to be furloughed from a job as opposed to being totally unemployed. You spend half the time that we were down in lockdown trying to apply for unemployment, can't get it.
Or other programs, the PPP.
And you have idiots in the federal government talking about your 1,200 stimulus checks should last you 3 months. And according to the president, if the stock market is doing well, the economy is great, but only great for the 1%. Right, and getting all these huge tax breaks and stuff like that. So when you look at what's happening, the economy is not great at all. Okay, and if you have people lining up in cars 3 miles at a stretch right now in a lot of places, especially Texas, just to get a box of food, the economy for me, I'd say the economy, no, it's not good, and it's kind of weird. It's crazy when you out here driving in South Florida. Traffic jams, 5 o'clock in the morning. You think, okay, everything is awesome, but when it translates across the board, it isn't. I mean, people I think still trying to do what they can in a lot of places, in a lot of instances. So some people may be okay, but majority of people are not okay.
So let's take that a step further, right? We're carving out the Black agenda. So this whole series, for all my people out there watching, this whole series about what's the new Black agenda. We will have a new president in office soon. Right now he can't do nothing; they blocking him. But when he comes into office, the victory didn't end there, right? We still got that Georgia race, January 5th, which we got to put some pressure on. And we still have to come with a list of demands. And what Ari was just saying about the economy is so important, right? So as we carve out this Black agenda for today's show, we're going to talk. We're going to take a deeper dive into the broader topics, and then the following weeks, next week, we're going to cover mental health, right, and in our community and family needs, and that's going to be a full on show just about that, right? The following week, we're going to get into criminal justice reform because we all know that must happen. But right now, though, talking about this economy, you know, we know that there are policies and things that lock us out of good jobs and investing in the health and the wealth of our community. And in COVID, I feel like why I let the conversation go so much about COVID is because to me, it's not a policy, right? But damn it, if that ain't something that's locking us out of this economy right now, and the policies that are going to come because of it in the name of so-called keeping us healthy can go ahead and set us back as Black people even further. So I gotta say, like, one of our demands, we're gonna have to really, really tackle, and when I say really, I mean really, really tackle this economy piece and the systemic piece, right? So what are some things that we can put out there that we can ask, that we can remove? If it's a specific policy, even if it's something like, hey, with the COVID lockdowns, what jobs do we consider essential, right? Um, what are some things specifically that we can work on removing, y'all, that will allow us to do better as a Black community, better invest in our health, wealth, in our communities, man. I'm just asking
Well,
the fellas. Yeah.
Well,
are you speaking about economically
Yeah,
or
we're
well,
talking economically. Like I said, next week we're going to talk about mental. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about community. The following week we're going to talk about criminal justice. Right now, I want us to dig into some of the economic policies, roadblocks, right? And COVID is not your traditional roadblock, but damn it, it's a roadblock and it's a setback. So
but
what are some?
hold on, Chad.
Yeah,
This what needs to be said, that
talk to me.
we need to stop worrying about equality, because there's never going to be equality in America. If you understand anything about America, is
Yeah.
built for whites,
Mm-hmm.
and it's what is built for them to stay on top. So long as you're trying to fight for equality, there's going to be a problem. Fight for
For
humanity,
fight for equity.
but we need the humanity first. Then you can fight for equity. Because long as they don't see you
Us
as a human
people.
being, how can you ever have equity?
So
But
you
how we
just gave us the
but how
first
we
roadblock,
yeah,
James. You just gave us the first roadblock. Fight for our humanity.
but how we gonna fight for humanity when you look at what they're trying to do right now in this election? Right now in Wayne County, you got the canvassers, they're deadlocked. They're not agreeing to certify the votes in Michigan. And Wayne County is a primarily Black county. I think, what is that, in Georgia? In Georgia, and they're wanting to do similar things and so what they're trying to do is to cast away the Black vote. So for me, if you're talking about fighting for humanity, I don't even know what kind of where we even stand on that, because not only are our votes not valid, it seems,
Yeah.
but we are not valid. We are just not valid. We're just not, it just seems like to a lot of people we have no value. We're not supposed to be here. We ain't supposed to be involved. You know, So how do we fight for humanity if and without it's like you can't have one without the other. Oh, Detroit, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. It's still Michigan. Detroit's Michigan. Yeah, Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah,
So that, but that's again. I hate to rain on parades, but this is something, that fight for humanity. That's something that I sent that link out to y'all about the African American Organization of African American Unity back in
Hmm.
'64. That was the thing that Malcolm X was talking about. So these are not new struggles. He actually had, him and Martin Luther King had a plan to approach the United Nations and bring James, you was listening to Buddy about Palestine or whatever. Um, one of the reasons he talks about that is because Malcolm X and Martin Luther King were going to go bring charges against America in the United Nations in the court and in the Geneva
Yeah. Yeah.
Conventions as crimes against humanity about how they treated Black folks. However, we see how that went. So, for one of the first things we got to do is kind of agree on what we agree on. You know what I mean? Is that because humanity? You say you don't want to fight about equality, but humanity is equality. So it's either a yes or a no.
No, I think we can nuance that. I think humanity and equity could be boxed together. It doesn't have to be equality, right? Because equality is a black and white thing, right? Um, and we've
So it's
seen.
humanity.
So,
Either a person's human or they're not.
well, no,
So
no. Here's what I mean. Here's what I mean, right? When you say humanity, we're saying, I think what James is saying, and James, you're right there, you can speak for yourself. But I think what you're saying, though, is you're talking about my humanity is equal to your humanity. You're saying Black Lives Matter. But I think, and that's it. That's it. You're saying my humanity is equal to your humanity. And we have seen the Black Lives Matter. If we're talking about fighting for humanity, Rashad, that
yeah,
movement has done more this year than anything in probably, I want to say, in the past 20, 30 years, bro. Almost, I want to say more than anything since, we had Martin and Malcolm, right? Like
yeah,
that one movement, and they're fighting, and that's an idea. That's what, like, if we look at religions, that's what Christ did, right? He had an idea, he had concepts, right? We can't fight this situation with logic. We've got to be able to paint ideas and concepts in people's heads.
there's
And
Martin Luther King. Well, it's because he's a Baptist preacher, but he phrased it he framed it as radical love, agape, that brotherly love.
yeah,
So you can't necessarily fight. You can't legislate a person's beliefs, but you can legislate their behaviors. So you can take the moral high ground. We can't fight for necessarily equality, perhaps in how businesses hire whoever they hire, but we can fight for equity. But at some point, we do have to fight the fight for the equality of human dignity and decency under the laws that the Constitution provides. Otherwise, we need to go find somewhere else to live.
well,
You can't pick. And I'm just saying, you can't pick. You can't have your cake and always eat it too. So there has to be a sacrifice. And I think I agree with us needing to fight for humanity, because once we're able to establish that, then we can move forward. But that is a fight about equality. I just want to make sure that we understand that, because our humanity has to be equal to the humanity of everybody else, that we deal with
Okay.
in the country. So it is a fight about humanity, or equality.
So then
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
humanity is about equality, but the opportunities are about equity. Can we agree with that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay, Ari, you have anything to add in on this? I mean, I've got more thoughts, but I'm trying not to hog it because this is just deeply personal here.
I'm sorry, I got a little distracted for a second. So I missed part of what.
No. Okay, so then I'm gonna keep going.
Let me hear what you say that I'll tune in. Yeah. Let me hear some more of your thoughts.
What we just flushed out with the help. So James put us on the right track by saying, we've got to fight for humanity. And I brought up how Black Lives Matter, using ideas and concepts is an amazing way to fight for humanity, right? Instead of just using logic and facts. And Rashad was arguing correctly that humanity is also a fight for equality, in a sense that our humanity has to be equal to theirs. I was counter arguing that we need to fight for equity, but the pivot has been, or not the compromise, but the correct has been that we fight for equality of humanity and we fight for equity of opportunities and access, right? In that, so, hold on, D-Tron, you just said it, bro. You said, on the subject of humanity, I think the issue is implicit bias, not humanity and humanity, which goes to why I said that we've got to use concepts and ideas. I can't prove
I'm sorry, Kate. I'm gonna push back on that, because it's not implicit bias is based on inhumanity. You have to start from the core. The core root of the problem is our historical issues with racial injustices based in slavery, which is inhumane. Those implicit biases over the years have developed because of inhumane treatment of other peoples. So we have to establish the humanity. If we didn't need to establish humanity, we wouldn't have the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments and the Civil Rights Acts.
But you do have to acknowledge. So you are right. Humanity is at the root cause, but implicit bias is the insidious piece.
Is the result of that inhumanity. You're trying to treat the symptom without actually treating the disease.
Let me ask this: how many of y'all agree that society is failing right now?
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, because society is working exactly the way it was set up to work.
Okay, but do you agree that
so there may be a way that we would like society to work, but it's doing exactly what it was set up to do.
Well, hold on, Richard. Now, to expand on what you're saying, now you said it's doing right what it is supposed to be doing. Do you feel that that's the way white society wants it to go?
I'm not saying white society. I'm saying this society.
But I'm saying the white society, the powers that are be, we're going to say in America is white society.
American society was set up. Was the way American society is set up. It is set up to subjugate and oppress Black folks, specifically Black folks and Native Americans. I'm gonna say that.
But I'm asking you, do you feel that if that's white society?
No, it's not white. It's not white society.
So who runs America?
And let me say this. The reason why I'm saying it's not white, it's American society, because in European societies, they have what? They have free healthcare. You look at Canada. You can look at Netherlands. You can look at Amsterdam.
Hey, don't forget European society. Who runs America's society? Who are the forefathers that set the precedent for what America is today? Were they Black? Were they brown? Were they red?
Right. They were Europeans. Right. Or
They,
white,
huh?
or you can say white folks.
Okay.
We'll go with
So
white
now we
folks.
coming back to the point that white society has it where it wants it to be. We can't be afraid to call a spade a spade.
No, it's not. No. You're conflating the two. You're conflating the two ideas. What I'm saying is, there's a specific, because I've unfortunately I've had this conversation, and a lot of folks that I know from overseas always ask the question of, why is America so rich yet you have such poverty in this country? Why do they treat and these are white folks from other countries, and why do they treat black folks so bad? Or why can't black folks get get a leg up or whatever?
So,
And
right,
there's a difference, okay? And you have to understand there's a difference in how homogeneous cultures work and how heterogeneous cultures work. Europeans in European societies, white folks in Europe, if you want to say it that way, they treat each other a lot better than descendants of Europeans in America treat Americans. So Americans, white folks in America, behave very differently than their European counterparts.
I gotta pause you. I gotta pause you real quick, because to my ears, y'all saying the same damn thing. And I could
Thank you, goddamn it, Chad.
We're not. We're not. I know. You may feel that way, but it's not. It's
Only
not
thing
the same
you keep repeating is Europeans.
No. The difference. What I'm making the distinction is between the two cultures. Okay. There is a difference between the two cultures. Okay. And that's the problem, because we can see clearly in these other cultures in Europe, right? They're European homogeneous. All right, so if that was the case, right? If it was the case that all white folks treated, were to oppress other people.
We're not
saying. I'm not talking about all white folks. I'm talking about Americans.
And matter of fact,
and that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about Americans, but you're trying to say.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. I think this definition will help, right? What you're talking about when you say European or American, you're talking about Caucasians, right? Caucasians are both European and American, and Australian and a whole bunch of other shit, right? But when we speak about white people, we are specifically, we're specifically referring to American Caucasians, which is it's a cultural thing. And so that's why I'm saying to you, because I know you and I know James, right? Like, I know you on a different level. That's why I'm saying y'all are essentially saying the same things. And let me carry it for this, right? Because I don't want us to lose our other conversation points in this, right? Because we have one thing we can't do is we can't get so caught up on the minuscule details that we don't have a way of discussing the larger points and agreeing on anything, right? Some stuff we have to look at and be like, all right, well, I'm gonna call them European, you can call them white, whatever, right? Because the larger context, I think the point is this, right? We're talking about the new Black agenda. We're here to hammer out topics, right? Black people get caught up. Facts, right? We get caught up on discussing and debating things that honestly don't necessarily help move us forward. What's going to help move us forward at this point, and this is with love, brothers. What's going to help move us forward is if we continue hammering out things. We have a couple of great topics. We said, look, and whether they all work or not. And my man Pierre, he jumped in there. Pierre Nixon dropped one in, and we was talking. We almost missed it. Look. We got to fight for no matter if they like it, no matter how it works. These are agenda topics. We don't have to debate the effectiveness. All we got to do is put together an agenda and figure out how to hold people accountable. Look, we got to fight for humanity. We got to fight for equity. We have to fight for economic independence, right? Pierre put in there, and I was adding in, we have to fight for enforcement. Because you can have all this shit and they just not enforce it, which they've been doing forever, right? This is about building an agenda. We don't have to debate what's
That's right.
effective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We gotta have something we present to this new administration, and then they gotta figure out how to make that shit effective. We can get to that there, but no, we gotta at least have something to present.
Right. So Pierre mentioned, about the whole thing about group economics. And that's something that sort of flared up during the heights of the pandemic. Was it the oh god, I forgot the African term and concept for it, but in terms of how we are able to pool together, I mean, when you look at the Jewish culture, Jewish set of people,
Mm-hmm.
they were able to harness, group economics, and allow their people to thrive, and that's a perfect way. That's something that needs to be included in the Black agenda.
Yep.
When you're talking about developing, maintaining, and growing communities, and that's something that we've spoken about on the show before. What happens in these communities, you know. How are we able to consistently keep a dollar in a community?
Yes.
Because if you're not able to do that, you're always going to be on the you're fighting to go up. You're always fighting to go up. Um, so uh, yeah, we have to develop systems that are not just accessible but are utilized on a consistent basis in our communities, and so that will help us build the things that we are fighting for, build our own, keep building, to build our own, build our own, supermarkets, to start there, supermarkets that are in, viable supermarkets that are in urban neighborhoods, not just supermarkets that's filled with sodas and chips and stuff like that.
Right.
Supermarkets that have quality foods, quality affordable foods, for people to have access to that.
Mm-hmm.
Not corner stores and stuff like that. Where you go in and you spend those dollars, and those dollars stay in the community. We need more of that. So we need those dollars, to come out of these corporations to go into developing these communities, these neighborhoods.
So, and I'm adding that in. You said develop our own systems. You said a lot more than that, but I picked that one out, Chef. I want to add that in. And Ray Howard brought up something that we definitely got to talk about if we're putting together an agenda. Immigration policies. That squarely falls under roadblocks.
And immigration. I'm gonna say this on immigration. The biggest issue, and white folks keep dancing around it, is they continue to victimize the immigrants instead of enforcing laws on the folks that are purchasing their labor. All right, somebody come across the line or whatever, however they get here as an immigrant and go for a job, right? They're trying to make an honest living and work their way up. As an employer, you are taking advantage of an individual by paying them less money. And you're doing double harm. One, you're taking away a job from a citizen who's here, who's looking for work, because you want to pay less money. And two, you're victimizing the person that you're giving the job to by paying them less than appropriate wages. Okay, so you're continuing that cycle of victimization and slavery. So they started, and I think this was during the Bush era. They started the e-verification, where you got to have an ID and all of that. The other part of that was to actually penalize employers for hiring individuals who are not immigrants. Okay, if you know you can't get a job in a place, you're not going to continue to show up. So they have to make the cost of hiring someone who's not in the pipeline to either become a resident or a citizen, higher than the opportunity for somebody to pay that extra that half wage. You see what I'm saying? And that's something that hasn't been done in the name of laissez-faire and all that bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
free
why
trade.
that's why I wanted to talk about immigration, because, like you said, there's double harm, and there's even third order, what they call tertiary order consequences, and fourth order consequences that are really, really talked about. And Ray Howard put it out. They said, the fastest growing immigrant population is not Black people. You're right.
No, because we're not immigrants. We're Americans.
Well, no. So that's why I brought up that's why I was circling back to immigration, right? Is because I think on the Black agenda, we need to talk about bridging the gap between Black people from across the diaspora, right? So Africans, Caribbeans, Haitians, right? Like these are all Afro Latinos, right? This is why it's an immigration issue, because if we all consider ourselves Black, not just African American Black or this or that, right? If we can bridge those gaps, it would do wonders for our group economics, for our humanity, for all of the stuff that we talked about. Just that one thing. So I wanted to add that to the list, was bridging the gaps. And there was something else, but I'm losing it, y'all. Angela Smith, good evening, my sister. D-Tron, Ray, I gotta shout y'all out, man. Y'all are keeping it gangster up there, man.
They're killing it in the comments right now. They got fire going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Y'all got like that. That's the thing, man. That's what this is about, right? We're not all a monolith, and all of these things have to be discussed. But that's why I was saying we gotta put together first. We have to at least have things we're asking for. So with immigration, what I would ask for, if we were having a clear ask, is I would ask for immigration policies that, once again, now here's where I would ask for equality. We don't want separate immigration policies based on if they're white immigrants or Black or brown immigrants. We want an immigration policy that is across the board. And in this country, we've often seen too many times very, very different immigration policies, like
wet foot, dry foot.
Wet foot, dry foot.
Cuban. That's the Cuban move right there. That's that Cuban vote. That's that all day, every day.
Yeah,
bam, I'm in.
James came in with the power move. Blah, wet foot, dry foot. And what was the result of that one in this past election? You know what I'm saying? So we gotta see the even on the immigration, man. Chef. Can't hear you, Chef. Can't hear you.
You on the phone. Oh, you muted, Irie.
Oh yeah, you said something about I think bridging the gap, through immigrants and all. But from my perspective, when it comes to immigrants come here and we see we see the lay of the land. We start to understand the politics. And one of the things that is evident and clear to us is that we still have to fight for our we're all still almost like segregated in our own groups. And we feel that we get the privilege to come here, don't fight for what we can, and oftentimes there's not a priority place on bridging any gaps per se.
There's not.
Especially if you're from the Caribbean, people come here and most immigrants, almost all immigrants that come here because they want something better, something different.
Facts.
So they figure out all the different ways that they can do that based on what's accessible to them, whatever, if they're programs. And immigrants have a very cool way of tapping into resources because they understand how it works for them, and they're going to make it work for their people. So whether that's a Jamaican community, or just a full Caribbean community with different mixes of people from the Caribbean, we're doing it to make ourselves better, not necessarily the United States to be better, but I think to make their people better, because we don't see that we get any fairer chances than anybody else. So it's still a rat race. It's still a rat race. And but as you can see, whatever administration, all the administrations so far to this point have not been successful in creating a viable immigration policy at all.
At
And
all.
then there was definitely not one. And if anything, they wanted to reduce immigration across the board, especially immigrants coming from black countries, where
Yeah.
black and brown people were from.
But we have black attorneys. We have immigrant attorneys that can tackle this, right? And this goes back to, now on this piece, I'm gonna throw this back to what D-Tron and Ray are ganging up on right now, disagreeing with, is that now we don't have to ask the administration to figure this out. We have the brain trust that we could go to as a people and say, hey, we need y'all to figure this out, and then present that to the administration and have them adopt some of that, because the brain trust is there. And these are people that went through it, that immigrated to this country. And since they immigrated, they went in and got, legal degrees, and they have worked in the field and they've seen it firsthand. So that's something we could do. And then the other thing, to your point, Ari, I think that both sides, but I'm gonna call on Black Americans, because I grew up on that side. We could do a much better job of being more welcoming and accommodating, and actually saying, as people come in, as immigrants come in, hey, listen, here are the ropes. Let me take you on the wing. Let's show you this. And I think we do it to a large extent, but I always look at myself when there's a problem and say, what can I do better? And that's just me saying that as some Black people, not saying we don't do it, but saying that I think there is room for improvement there. Right. Just putting it out there.
I'm follow up with you on that. I was checking out some of the comments. So we have to, as Black folks, I think it was I don't know, was it Ray or what you call it? I think it was Ray that said, Black folks are always a long term, they don't benefit from immigration. We have to look at why and how that comes about. Since slavery, America has been bringing folks in to replace slaves. Okay, that's just what it is. They've been bringing in folks since the 1860s to increase the number of white folks in the country to outnumber slaves. Once the different groups of Europeans ended up becoming quote unquote white, right, in America, because America is the only country that uses the term white or Black, right? Then all of a sudden we see a huge influx of Hispanics into the country, okay, to work as low cost, cheap labor. Those people who were in those underclass jobs or lower economic jobs were Black folks in this country. So a good immigration policy does help. It helps everybody overall, but it helps disproportionately it helps the lower class folks, because now you have when you have a group of people who have a way to work totally assimilate into a society legally, right? That takes away the benefit of the lower cost. Also, now you have additional income and tax dollars coming in. Also, you now have a stronger labor force grouped together. You know what I mean? Because somebody comes in and if they really want to be about becoming a resident, they know they can work and get $7 or whatever, 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever the going rate is. Why not do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why not take the extra money if that's what it's about? Working the system, I'm going to take the extra money if I can't. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, you're right. You're right, and I think we can. We can look at some of those system incentives. Like we said, America is a capitalistic society. So yes, everybody comes in and works those angles, and that is what further fuels some of the inequalities, some of the issues that we've just seen continuously. Because it does not incentivize working together necessarily. It incentivizes getting over. However, I do want to touch on it on reform. We have talked a lot. We talked about things we need to do, but we haven't touched as much on reform. Reform specifically in the criminal justice system and reform in voting. And we had started to touch on voting a little bit earlier, but we didn't really talk about some reform ideas that we had, man. So I wanted to ask your brothers, because all of these topics are rabbit holes. Every single thing that we've touched on can go.
One of them.
But
every one of them.
But on the subjects, and good evening, brother. I see you jumping in.
Yeah.
Subject of reform, right? Incarceration, voting, right? Two things that literally they go hand in hand. Where are we at, y'all? What are we moving? What's our agenda topics for reform on those things?
On voting, the thing, that the voting is so complex because again, if you go back and you just look at the Civil Rights Act, right? Mm-hmm. Shelby versus Holder, and the Citizens United case. So with Citizens United, now you have companies, right, being treated as private citizens. So they're able to donate dumb, stupid money, millions upon millions of dollars into political campaigns. And then with Shelby versus Holder, you basically take away the heart of the Civil Rights Act, which is when states created voting laws, right? They actually had to present that before Congress or before a judicial system or a judiciary committee in order for them to review those laws, those voting laws, to see if they're equal.
So what you're saying is we need both a new Civil Rights Act and we need to limit campaign dollars. Is that what you're saying? I'm looking for.
Take the money out. Take out. You got to take out big court. Well, first you got to reestablish the Civil Rights Act as it was.
No, as it was, or can we do better? I mean, think about it.
We can do better. We can do better. You always want to ask for more than what you're probably going to get, but reestablish the Civil Rights Act, and then also to take out those campaign dollars. That corporations are able to inject. Obama, when he won his first go around, he won through social media, so he got a lot of small donors. He got a lot of small money donations. The white backlash to that was Citizens United. Well, we can't get as many people to donate, but we can get big corporations to donate. So everything. Go ahead.
I was going to say no. You're right, and I don't want us to go too deep into that because I want to give the other brothers a chance to jump in on this. And just remind y'all, because time we're heated. We're getting into heated discussions, boy. But
yeah,
we have
to. Ray Howard in there. They in the chat going crazy right now.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that's what I'm saying. But we have to do agenda points. So, brothers, I want y'all to jump in, man. I'm Rashad. The two agenda points I'm putting you down for are change campaign and political donations, right? How the money move, and create new Civil Rights Act. That's what I'm putting 2 points out of your conversation.
Is that for reform?
That's for reform, yes.
Reform across the board, or reform? Because it seems like there's so many things that need reforming, not just the justice, the criminal system. We're talking immigration, We're talking
Yeah.
We
how
right
we
now we on voting, right? I
Yeah.
think
I was doing voting
uh,
and criminal justice because
yeah,
because I had to narrow it down. But
right.
Irie, if there's something that is on your heart, bro, let's do it. Let's get it.
No, I
yeah,
think
get it in there, Harry.
get it in. I think the whole a lot needs to be reformed about voting, especially looking at what we're seeing now. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, where everybody is talking about you know make every vote count for different reasons. And some when you have the thing, go back to Wayne County, where people are now um deciding to side, with the current administration because they're pissed because they lost, and you know some of these rules are being blatantly stepped on, um, and there's no. It seems like there's no recourse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the court system is doing what is doing. All these cases that are being these lawsuits are being thrown out as soon as they get to the podium, or sometimes even before. But why is it so easy? Um, because all you gotta do right now is just to cast doubt on the system,
Yeah.
and they're saying for them the system isn't working or didn't work. Well, yeah, well, too bad.
Join the club.
That's what they said 4 years ago.
You mad, son? You know what I'm saying? You mad, son?
Join
Too
That
bad.
it didn't work for
join
them.
the club. Join
That,
the
be sure to lose it.
system not working for you. Hey,
Yeah, yeah. As you look at it, yeah, I don't know. There's just so much so many things to reform. The Constitution needs tighten up. The law, the way these senators and politicians are acting. There's just so many things. But it just seems like the way we look at voting and to maximize our votes, we the people need to be the ones that stand up and hear our voices, you know, protest more, you know,
yeah,
um, you know, because I would hate to think that some shit pop off, in like, Wayne County or any other county, and people just sat there and like, well, what we gonna do? You know?
I love it. I love it.
Good.
James, sir, you're the only person who's been quiet on this one, man. I mean, you kicked us off lovely. I know that brain working.
He's muted.
No, that's because I'm reading the comments and pushing them out.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's dope.
No,
We were
they got
asking,
some good comments.
yeah, the comments are good. And we're gonna go talk about this. But we're asking for agenda topics and specifically on reform. I had broken it down to incarceration and voting reform just because of time, because we're winding down. But I'm asking for us what should be on our agenda in those. So
Let's get into the incarceration because we really didn't touch on that.
well, that's what James talk because he's the only one who hasn't been able to chime in on this one.
And on the incarceration reform, we need more preventive measures before we even talk about reform.
Right.
Like let's say it that if you're white, they send you to a prevention program. If you're black, we go ahead and incarcerate you. When we could go to those same programs that they're sending little Tommy to, and it can help us the same way it helped little Tommy from getting off meth to help them getting off crack, or mollies, or whatever else they own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's enforcement. That's equal enforcement of the laws that we already got.
Well, but that's also it's a part of. I wouldn't say reform. I'm saying
It's just agenda.
yeah, work the preventive measures too. don't just incarcerate us. There are preventive programs for us too.
Got it. Got it. I'm putting that down as increased. I put it down as increased preventive and diversionary programs. Right. Okay. And James, man, I know you're doing two things at once, bro. But like I said, your voice is powerful and necessary. Um, is there anything else that's near and dear to your heart that you want to talk about that we should add to the agenda before we get into some of the comments and do our wrap up?
I save it for when we start really breaking it down.
Got
then
it.
focus on it more.
Okay, got it. All right, so with that being said, let's touch on these comments have been going ham. Let's touch on those guys, and then we've got to jump into our wrap up and set the scene for next week because we got more in this topic. Sir Howard,
we respond to one quick that they're talking about in the chat. The whole thing about economics. And they're absolutely right when we say about teaching our kids economics. What, and it's not just economics, and it goes back to the whole tech thing and all that good stuff. And one of the things that I had, a few days ago, I was having a conversation about politics with a friend of mine, and where she asked me, what did was my family or my parents involved in politics? And I said to us, to a certain degree, yes, they were. So I just said, okay, that explains why you have a deeper sort of attachment to political things. And so politics, economics, finances, all that stuff, those things have to be introduced to kids, to children, to individuals when they are kids.
Yes.
We have to be sitting down with them. Even if you don't know, you share what you know, and then you go out and get more information. But everything that we're talking about now, we have to start sharing with this generation when they are young. We have to put those things in the minds. In the last 5 years, you've seen a swell of young individuals, less than 15, who have started businesses. And that's because a lot of them, they got certain ideas and their parents pushed it, and so a lot has to do with what's happening in the homes. So you have to start, inculcating in the young mind, the value of a dollar, the value of education, the value of, socioeconomics. If you're not teaching and putting that stuff in their ages at that age,
Mhm.
as if you're always going to have that uphill climb.
Yeah. Agreed. I added that in, Chef, and I added that in under change general education. So I'm talking about all primary, secondary schools to include economics, tech, and politics. And obviously, these can be broadened, but I added that in on our list. And we getting a little list here, y'all. We getting a little bit of a list here. Okay. We getting an agenda, and that's what we're here to do.
We
have some.
Let's say a little bit on economics, because I see a lot of that is taught also in there. So I noted one comment said black folks spend $1.3 trillion. Amazon is worth $1 trillion. Let's put this in perspective. Apple is a $1 trillion company. Let's put this in perspective. All right. So let's because so $1 trillion ain't a whole bunch. Hate to say it. So just to put it in context, at the same time, we have to the biggest part of socioeconomics is the social part. So we have to work within ourselves more in order to get those stores built, right? The owner has to go to a bank to get a loan, right? If those loans aren't given out on a equitable basis, right, then that store doesn't get built, right? Or if the loan is structured in a way that it makes the business insolvent, then that loan doesn't get taken. If the leaders of the community or the city organization doesn't give that business, black-owned business, the same tax breaks that it gives the white or the Asian or the whoever else business, then that business doesn't get built. So there's a lot of layers, and we have to the first thing we need to do in building our community is be truthful with ourselves and with each other. You know what I'm saying? You can't go buy a life insurance policy, right? If you got multiple health issues. All right.
Yeah.
Most policies they have minimums, right? You can't build generational wealth if you have no house, right? Most of us are oftentimes just trying to keep our head above water. So we have to first be honest with each other. Get it out, get all that shit out on the table, the good, the bad, and the ugly, sort it out, get it through, and then we can start to move forward. But we can't just play to one side of the field.
Okay. Bro, thank you. I just added like 2 things based off of what you said, but it's 11:05, so I got to call it. We're going to have to wrap up. And I want to
closing statement and everything. That's it.
Okay, because I was gonna say we got to do our 2-minute wraps. I will acknowledge what James just put on the screen. Ray Howard's statement about Black queens, fastest growing entrepreneurs in America. So basically, they're our most educated, most business prolific, but also our poorest because of student loans. So I went ahead and added in. We need some more options for student loan forgiveness, right? We need to cast a net for that. And then off of what you were just saying, Rashad, about life insurance and about investment tools. Check this out. We do have to be truthful, but also too, we can pull a straight white move, pull a move out of their playbook. Let's create investment tools and life insurance policies that understand that Black people have more comorbidities and who don't really give a damn. Maybe we are a little bit riskier, but damn it, we can create these investment tools and policies ourselves. We don't have to continue to try to fit into theirs that we obviously cannot. So
that's right. That's right. No, and then we got. In order for us to do that, we got to be truthful with our situations. And if we don't talk about the money, if we don't do what
we never talk about the money.
Yeah, if we don't do what Irie was saying, is start educating our children. Part of our education in educating our children is being honest with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We got to say, look, hey, look, pimpin', daddy ain't got it right now. You know, these are the steps we're going to do to improve that. We have to hold ourselves accountable in order for us to hold our children accountable and in order to work with each other.
I love it.
To build that trust and that, that relationship.
I love it, bro. I love it, man. And on that note, guys, I'm going to call it 2-minute wrap-ups. This has been, you see that this has been passionate. I love it, guys. Let's do our 2-minute wraps. And get ready for next week. An XLX stock tip. Ray, real quick, before we do that, Ray, what is an XLK stock tip? Can you drop that in? We'll give our 2-minute wrap-ups. If you can type that up for us, we'll come back to it. But anybody want to start with their 2 minutes? Anybody want to kick it off? Anybody, anywhere? I could kick it off tonight if y'all don't want to, but anybody, anywhere.
Okay. I nominate Irie.
Oh my goodness. Jesus. Oh boy. Well, we all waiting this, more than likely, yes, we got a new administration. One way or the other, with all the foolishness that's going on. But whatever reforms that we're talking about, whatever agendas that we're ideas for agendas. If if it's a black agenda, especially if it's a black agenda, um, uh, come back to it all the time. Um, the it'd be good if we're getting the different ideas from these different subsets of black people. You
Hmm.
know, um, whether it's Caribbean nationals, African nationals, whatever it is, because we all don't see the agenda as this, in the same way.
Yeah.
Uh, because and even within, the African American, group, people have see things so differently, and their opinions, what benefits each other is so different and so vast. But so I think the Black agenda, and everybody's saying yes, the African American agenda. Well, wherever we come from, elsewhere, we are all considered black. You know, we're here in this country, so we are all, they see us as one. They see us as a monolith, but we don't see ourselves as monolith. So we have
Okay.
to get ideas from the different people, the different, the representation from the different subset of people, and to see, how that works, for everybody from a, business standpoint. Small businesses, a lot of immigrants have businesses, and a lot of black immigrants have businesses, and they might see things differently, in terms of an agenda. you know um,
True.
they're seeing things as what benefits us and what benefits our family and our businesses, not just across the board thing. So those things have to be taken into consideration, when these ideas are being, pushed and pushed and pushed, because at the end of the day, when we all vote, um, there's no differentiation when we vote. You
No.
know, we're voting for whether it's a president or when we do these local elections. We got to make sure that we're rallying everybody from every subset of our black culture to go out and vote. So people who walk into the voting booth and only cast their votes for president or only vote in presidential election need to be more informed and totally understand what it really means to vote, not just down ballot in the presidential elections and the amendments, but also to be informed and educated what it really means to vote in these local and municipal elections, because everything that they are concerned with, um, comes out of those elections, those commissioners, those mayors, those police chiefs, those judges, the judges, understanding who you put in place, when in these general, these elections, those are the people that are going to change, the way, things happen in your communities, you know. So that's what I gotta say.
I love it, sir. I love it, man. I just added one more because of what you just said. Um, create a tech platform that can inform the general public. In Latin America, I don't want to misquote the country. There's an app that allows, whenever there's a bill or something that's coming up to be voted on, it gets sent out through this app to the general population, and it's the bill in its entirety. And also on the app is like the voting records of the people of that they've elected, so they can see where they voted on similar bills before and stuff like that. So it just disseminates information differently. So I think we can use tech better. Who's next, sir, on this breakdown, on this 2 minute wrap up?
Go ahead, Jay. Jump in there, man. You know I've been talking. I feel like I've been talking too much.
It's already on you, my brother.
Oh shit! Here we go. Now I'll say it again. It's a good day to be black. Yeah, we got to keep everything in context. Um, we're building. There's things that we can improve upon. Like Irie was saying, we're not a monolith, but at the same time, I think that things that help us as a general population, things that are good for Black folks in general, tend to be good for America. it's never been good the other way around. So we just got to keep building, keep talking to each other and finding those ways that we can work together. You know what I mean? Be honest with ourselves, be honest within our families, so we can be honest within our community and continue to build. That's the key thing. Build, and build on truth and honesty, and build with love and conviction, and we'll be all right. That's what's kept us so far. I believe that's what will keep us and allow us to continue to grow.
Love it. Love it. Love
Okay. So I guess it's on me now.
You it.
So my little 2 minutes would be we on the threshold of major changes getting ready to take place of America, and this is the time period to decide what side of the threshold are we going to be. Are we going to be inside, or are we going to be outside still knocking at the door? So we have to make the changes and that we need to take place to be on the inside to make the changes for all of our folks that's on the outside.
Love it. Love it, man. I think all you brothers have said some amazing things. And for all my people watching, you know, the comments have been ridiculously active. So for my 2 minutes, I just want to reiterate that we are just a group of guys talking about what we think is important. But we in no way speak for all Black people. We recognize we are not a monolith and that we don't have all the answers. And to that point, I actually want to ask that for everybody that's still watching, that's commenting, send to You're Plugged In a list of items that you think need to be on this new Black agenda. And what we will do, we'll go through them, and the things that we see repeated or that really stand out, we will include them in our next couple of shows, because we have a few more shows in this series about this. Next week's show is going to be about community and self-care and how we build. The following week's show is going to be on reform on the justice system, criminal justice system. I sat here and put together a whole list. I'm not going to read it through. I just will show you. My handwriting is terrible. I could have been a doctor, but there's so much more, and I don't want it to just be our thoughts. Y'all were doing amazing stuff in those comments. Go ahead, send that to us. Let us flush it out. And, for lack of better words, hey, let's get this agenda going. I'm a big fan of deliverables. And I believe that we have to be able to, I don't care whether this agenda gets delivered to anybody of true import. What I care about is the process of us as Black men and Black people and Black queens, right? Kings and queens. I care about us having the process of just creating an agenda, because damn it, we have not always gotten there before. So with that being said, man, I want to thank everybody for watching. This is what we do every Tuesday night. This is The Bridge. We are back next week. Okay, make sure you'll send those agenda items to the email and we will shout you out. Shit, if your agenda good enough, you might be a guest on the show.
That's what's
right. Send it to info@you'repluggedin.com. Okay, that's info@you'repluggedin.com. If you can't remember that, just go to You're Plugged In and send them a message on Facebook, family. Or on YouTube.
Have Ray on the show.
Huh?
I think you should have Ray on the show.
Yeah.
Hey,
Ray, get him in here. Come on, jump in. Yeah, get in here.
So I'm thinking that we got some. I think we got some interesting things, y'all. Because I think we have community, we have criminal justice. I definitely think we're gonna have to do something on finance in this series if we're gonna really round out the series, y'all. So with that being said, like I said, we're here every Tuesday. This is us. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. We doing this for the culture. This is Black People King Talk, Barbershop Talk, man. It's The Bridge.
It's The Bridge.